Well, morning everybody. How you doing? One sec. Sammy, United People's TV, here with another morning news show. And we're speaking about the game last night. United losing 2-1 against Newcastle. We haven't ended the St James's Park hoodoo. We're going to speak about the game. We're going to speak about Michael Carrick and some mistakes that he made last night. I think it's fair to say. We're also going to speak about the overall performance, speak about the players, what you can take going forward. It's now 11 days until we play Villa. Villa, who last night got spanked by Chelsea. We'll take a look at the table after the results. And yeah, we're going to have a conversation about Paul Scholes. It's not like people are reactive or extreme after a defeat, our first in 2 months. Nah. Never. This should be a fun chat. Does anybody ever get bored of just being extreme with your reactions? I don't know. That's just the currency of the internet. Gonna have some fun this morning. I'm gonna come crack some heads, I reckon. Let me say hello to everybody, and let's get on with today's show. Good morning to Steph and to Maddie, to Carl, to Gungshi. Good morning to you, man. Haven't seen you in a couple of days. Hope you're all right. Alex, you're here too. Did Josh as well. And some members, we've got Richard Innes, we've got Sasha, we've got one more, we've got Abel Fizet, and some non-members. Got Bonz's World, we've got Roz, and we've got Superstar. Oh, that game last night. Look, you saw my match reaction, and let's waste no time, let's get into it. Let's roll the sleeves up. They're a bit tight. I'm not rolling those up. What's everybody's overarching feeling from that game last night? You saw it in my match reaction. It's so infuriating watching Manchester United play against 10 men. Now, I know that we beat Crystal Palace, sure. And we were better in the second half against Crystal Palace, sure. But that's going to be 2 times this season now that Manchester United have lost against 10 men. At home against Everton, where they had 10 men for 70-odd minutes. And there against Newcastle for 45 minutes. You just wouldn't have known at any point in that second half that Newcastle had 10 men. Apart from maybe around about a 10-minute period. We were really putting the pressure on them, putting balls into the box. That was making a big difference. Some passes from Bruno, the shot from Xerxes. Then we got hit with the sucker punch, which was, honestly, that's going to be contender for goal of the season. Unbelievable goal from him. But we gave them the opportunity. Right, let me say hello to everyone this morning. There's a couple of super chats are in, and then we'll get into the whole conversation. It should be an interesting one, I suppose. Alex saying, look at the points total since Carrick came in. Before people get angry, one bad performance from a squad with known issues doesn't justify a head loss. No. Head loss is fashionable, mate. Let's ignore the fact that we had 19 from 21. I'm going to say that again. 19 from 21 points going into that game last night. I still think we're top of the form table. But alas, he's not good enough. He's never been good enough. Let's go. Let's get him out. 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 Let's go. Let's get... Just give up, your children. You haven't got to be so extreme. It's part of the problem of our football club. Ride the highs, but don't go crazy. But that's what hate watching and all of that jazz is now. Because it is extreme. We are the best. We are the worst. We are the best. We are the worst. We are the best. We are the worst. No, you're just somewhere in the middle. You're just a Manchester United team trying to get into the top 4. Which we are absolutely still on course to do. But that's not fashionable. Why would I do that, Sam? Why would I have just a normal level-headed conversation? I don't know. So what you're talking about, Scholes? I'm not talking about Scholes just yet. I'm talking about him in a bit. But just to remind you that last night was Newcastle's cup final. Just in case you're wondering. Right? And just to remind you that Newcastle was, I can't even see him in that table there. I'm going to remind people about this before we speak about the game last night. United are third. We lost last night and we're third. Last night was the opportunity for Manchester United to create a big old buffer. And we've lost that buffer. We now go into this game against Aston Villa in 11 days' time, and that is a tasty, tasty game at Old Trafford. Level on points with Villa. I'm not sure who Chelsea or Liverpool play that game week. I'm sure somebody can let me know. But it puts extra onus on that game. And that's what it was last night. It was the big opportunity to really put a little bit of space. I can't even see Newcastle in that table. Gungshi, thank you very much for gifting some memberships, dude. Can you give some sanity to some people as well? Look, let's not pretend that there wasn't problems last night, because there were quite a lot. Let's not pretend that United's performances have been phenomenal in these last 4 game weeks. We spoke about it quite a few times. Isn't it just weird how you can look at the same thing from different angles? Oh, it's a sign of a title-winning team, when you're playing badly, which is kind of what United have been doing in these last few games. But I'm going to remind you where we were before this. I don't know why I was singing there. Before he came in. Like, mate, we were down and out. These last 8 games have allowed us to start believing again. Allowed us to start enjoying watching football again. Watching United again. It's our first defeat in 12 games. You have to go back months. You have to go back to when we last played Villa, I think. But the last time we lost a game of damn football, people. Did Chelsea Newcastle next? Tasty. Like, if you cannot see that sort of mentality and approach is part of the problem, then I don't know what to say to you. Because it is part. It's like football extremists. It's the way that being a football fan online these days works. It's the currency that people want. They don't want you to sit in the middle. Like last night was crap. I don't know what feeling you had watching that second half, but it was just like, oh, man. I didn't enjoy 1 second of it. Because I knew what United were going to do. And unfortunately, United reverted to character. It honestly, to me, feels like Newcastle has been... Like, we've talked about bogey teams. We've talked about, we've had Brighton, we've had Bournemouth, but bloody hell, everyone's been our bogey team. We've been that naff. But it feels to me like Newcastle really does epitomise everything that's wrong with our team when we lose. And it happened again yesterday. They had 10 men, but you just wouldn't know how slow we were playing football. Now, we were playing slow against West Ham. It was a big problem. We were playing slow against Everton. It was a big problem. And then we were playing it. That tempo comes through you can't say lack of confidence. Carrick had won 6 and drawn 1 in his first 7 games in charge. If that's not going to get you some confidence, I don't know what will. Let's see what Carrick said after the game. And I'll go down and I'll read some of your comments.
Yeah, we're bitterly disappointed with the night, really. We know we can play a lot better than what we did and put ourselves in a good position in the game to take something from it. So then to come away with nothing, it hurts us. We're really disappointed. Don't like losing any game, but tonight hurts. I don't think we can't lose sight of the bigger picture and the good work that the boys have done to put us in a good position. So tonight we wanted to take another step, but we haven't managed to do that. We have done a lot recently, and we need to get back to doing that pretty quickly.
Like Carrick was speaking after the game on the lack of width. Like if you were to say what the biggest problem you felt watching that game was, what was it? I think it's like the superstar down there saying that Newcastle are the one team in the league that highlights our biggest weakness, that lack of drive and physicality in midfield. We got outmatched when it was 3-on-3 in midfield, and we got outmatched when it was, well, I suppose it was technically was still 3-on-3 because they dropped Barnes off and they brought on, was it Ramsey? But the lack of width was really hurting that team last night. I feel like that Dorgu injury, I'm not saying that we're losing because Dorgu's not in the team, right? But I'm saying what Dorgu did bring to the team was some natural width. Kind of hugging the touchline just a bit more. It's just something that Cunha doesn't do. I actually thought Cunha played well in parts last night. Some really good driving runs from him. But that's what he does. He's going to do driving runs in towards the edge of the box. We desperately lacked that width. You're not going to get the overlaps from Luke Shaw. It's just not going to happen. Like, is there anyone in particular you think there should be a talking point after that game? I'll run through a couple. But Carrick himself made some big old mistakes yesterday. And probably notably with the subs, I would say. Go down here. Delo coming on in the 61st minute with Ugarte. And Ugarte coming on for Casemiro instead of Mainu. I'm going to presume that is sort of on the instructions of the fitness coach. This was the first time that we had played a game, 2 games in the space of 4 days. And it showed. But let's not pretend that it hadn't been showing in the 3 games prior when we had a week between the games. So it's not necessarily just that. I'll tell you what the big mistake was. Bringing on Malacia instead of Aiden Heaven. Woof. I'm trying to think of the logic behind that. A natural left back. One step over sent him to the shops. I feel plenty of sympathy I have for Malacia and the injuries that he's had these last couple of years, but just step out. Step out, man. That was a bad mistake. That was an error. And that was on Michael Carrick. But the midfield. It's not as if we needed to see last night to have a conversation about why Manchester United need to rebuild a midfield. All right? But last night was where we saw Kobe and Casemiro, but Manchester United's whole midfield, struggle. The pace of the game was simply too high for them. And when United come into those sorts of physical battles, football becomes very simple. Like, at that point, it's not really about who the best technician is at all. It's just like, maybe just who's the better athlete. It's a big reason why we've lost against Newcastle most of the time. Even against 10 men, they still had the same output. Even better output. And I think if last night was it wasn't really an audition, because I don't know whether United will fully go after Tonali, but Tonali was everything that I thought Tonali would be. Because Tonali is. Joe Linton's not really had that good a season by the standards that he's been having these last couple of years. Last night, Joe Linton, absolute, I'll tell you what, he could have easily got sent off. If the referee was simply looking, I'm guessing the referee wasn't looking in his direction, got a yellow card, starts sarcastically applauding him. If the ref's looking at him, he gets sent off for that. I don't really know why the Newcastle fans are booing. The ref didn't do that. And also, the ref missed Dan Burn elbowing Luke Shaw in the face. So if you want to talk about bad decisions, and trust me, they go both ways. But Tonali last night just epitomised everything that's missing from our midfield. We didn't learn that last night. We saw it again last night. Then it was one of those games. We said it in the pre-match show as well. It felt like a lot was going to happen in the middle tonight. That's where the game would probably be won or lost. It feels like that's where the game was lost. Newcastle had the measure of that midfield. We had to play around it. We couldn't go through it. And we also couldn't play around it because we didn't have the width. As I said, it's nice to see that no one's overreacting after this. Let me see what you're saying down here. Right, read some of your comments. Salt, what you're saying? Saying can't really blame Carrick for that. Lack of depth in the squad, and why would Maguire back off on a one-on-one? Also, Boomer looks like he needs a rest. I'm guessing you talking about Madison towards the end there? I think so. Front three were poor last night. People trying to scapegoat Madison. Look at your leading centre-back. Scapegoat? The lad came on for 5 minutes and we conceded from his position. It's just it's more the fact that no one's really trying to scapegoat Madison here. People are questioning, why was Madison chosen ahead of Aiden Heaven, who's also a left-footed, athletic, wide centre-back. Could easily have covered that. I think it was just the wrong decision. What are you saying down here? We've lost twice this season to 10 men. Yeah, mate, that's the thing that keeps going over in my head, man. What is it about this Manchester United team, under two different managers, by the way? No, actually, no, Everton. Yeah, Everton was the end of Ruben Amorim. Well, it wasn't the actual end, but felt like it. Why is it that this team doesn't have the ability to step out and go, right, they've got 10 men. Okay, let's go. It's party time now. Let's toy with them, then destroy them. It's what so many teams do. Typically, when you go down to 10 men, you're crapping. It's survival mode, man. I wouldn't say Newcastle were in survival mode apart from a 10-minute period in that second half. And naturally, Aaron Ramsdale made a couple of blinding saves. One from Kobbie Mainoo and one from Xerxes. I think people are taking it over the top, but it's definitely right to be critical. You'd never hear me saying that you shouldn't be critical. But it's just people really struggle to form a critical argument these days. It's just like shout the loudest thing you can possibly shout from the biggest roof and then run away. And I don't need to justify it. I've just said what I've said. See ya. Just like pulling the pin out the grenade. Woof. There you go. It's just the land of extremes. That's just what football fandom is a lot these days online. We're going down there. Villa's massive now. Could be sixth if we lose. Yeah, Duncan, that's the frustration that we're all feeling. We've spoken about opportunities, and to Carrick's credit, he's taken pretty much every single opportunity that's been presented to him so far. This is the first one that's got away from him. And the first one that's got away from United. Villa getting absolutely trounced by Chelsea 4-1. We could have put 3 points between us and them, and 6 points between Chelsea and Liverpool. And imagine that was the result, and then we went into the Villa game. Boy, oh boy, but we didn't, right? But we didn't. I'm going to remind you of something, and you're going to probably hear this quite a lot between now and the end of the season. We're in the Champions League spots. We're currently in control of the Champions League spots. 8 games ago, 60% plus of you in the comments would never have said that was even a sniff of a possibility. That is the aim for this. I wouldn't say it's going to abomination of a season. Last season was an abomination. This season's not going to go down in the great memories of any United fan. But it's about finishing in the Champions League spots. And Carrick is on course for that. It was a big disappointment last night. That was our buffer gone. The buffer that we gained over these last 7 games. Last night was when it is. Man, the Premier League is so intense in that sense. So intense. Like, it can be even after, right? You've won 6 out of your first 7. You've won January Premier League Manager of the Month. You're nominated for February. Like, all of that context, all of that. You lose 1 game against Newcastle. Look how quickly the mindset of people can switch. How quickly the narratives can change. It's crazy. And yeah, I want to have a conversation about this now. And I'm pulling this photo up on purpose first. You're damn right this is going to be my lunchtime video. I want to hear your take on this. if you missed what happened, pretty much 10 minutes after the result, Paul Scholes is there on Instagram. You can see there. Michael has definitely got something special about him because United have been crap last 4 games. Night. Tonali. Love up. I've always found it a bit strange that... Looks like I've got boobs. Lovely pair. Look, I've got a lovely pair down there. Anyway. I've always thought it's a bit strange that people suggest that some former United players don't want United to be successful. I don't know. Like, to me, this always felt very strange. But I can't for the life of me look at this last night and think I can think anything else. Again, if this was Jamie Carragher doing it, I'd be like, it's just a Liverpool former player just like twisting the knife. But it's Paul Scholes doing this. I can't get my head around it. Criticism of play. This is just a childish barb. And I don't get it. And you're saying Scholes are bigger, better than me. And it is tough. It is hard. Chief Bell. King Cantor saying Scholes is worse than Gary. Someone saying we need Martinez back. Do I think that Martinez would have changed that game for United yesterday? The thing that was annoying me a lot was United weren't doing... Dan Burn kept doing that switch. Big diagonal. Took them up the pitch real quick. We just did not do that once. Is that because we didn't have enough players holding the real width? I don't know, but we just weren't. Maguire and Yoro were just passing it sideways and playing it through. There was no diagonals. And Maguire's very good at diagonals as well. Scholes is south face, knobhead. I don't sit on the fence or anything. Scholes and Gary are bad as each other. It's just... And do you know what's really indicative of where Scholes is at in the head? He's deleted it now. Just like he deleted... I can't remember what the other one was. He's done that multiple times now. Hot head after a game. Oh, actually... Shouldn't have done that. Rory certainly feels like that. All publicity being good publicity. Is it ulterior motive towards Paul Scholes and the podcast that he does with Nicky Butt? I don't get it. But when it comes to criticism of Lisandro Martinez, it might just be fashionable. But when it comes to just... You know what it almost felt like? That Scholes sat there, had something like that in his drafts. Like waiting for United to lose. Bam, pounce. I just, for the life of me, I can't get my head around it. This is a manager who clearly has come into our football club with one intention and one intention only. To help stabilise this football club. And I saw Harrison from the Overlap last night kind of suggesting that he feels that Carrick doesn't want the job in the long term. And kind of what's going on right now is he's doing what he can just to, stabilise for this season. Maybe like reduce training sessions, making the morale a little bit better in and around Carrington. I don't know whether I agree with that. Like, why wouldn't Michael Carrick want the Manchester United job? This is going to be his opportunity to get the Manchester United job. His one and only opportunity. Why wouldn't he want the biggest job in the world? Or maybe it's because it's the biggest job in the world that he wouldn't want it. So I'm not sure I buy into the idea that Carrick is solely looking at this as an interim manager and not further than that. But I think these next 5 games, I suppose, is where we're going to look. We are learning about a new interim manager in charge of Manchester United. We've learned a lot so far in the first 7 games. We were like, wow, 6 wins, 1 draw. This is incredible. Were they all blistering performances? No, but we did win when we weren't playing well. We came from behind to win. We scored late winners. We've been slow to start games. Now what happens when Michael Carrick loses a game? Frustration comes in. There's an 11-day gap. And remember that there's also like a 20-odd day gap. I don't know when that is. So I think it might be after Brentford. Or not quite sure. But that's huge. Imagine losing before that one. Bam. Carrick's got every best intention for this football club. I'm not sure Paul Scholes does. In fact, I know he doesn't. Because if you did, and that was something that was in your head, it would stop you saying so many things. It's almost like the little shoulder demon. No, shoulder angel. Doesn't have one. Just comes out. Right, let me see what you're saying down here. Duncan saying Casemiro clutch and Cobby was composed, but Tonali is midfield. I don't think Cobby was composed at all last night, if I'm being honest. I thought there were quite a few wayward passes from him. Quite too many times they got closed down super quick. They were just taking too long on the ball. Yeah, I would agree with that. Would I agree with that after that game? Ahmad over and Bomo for Villa. 11 days is a long time. I wouldn't be saying anything about any player and whether they should start right now. And also remember that coming into the Crystal Palace game, we were saying that Ahmad was the one that should be dropped for Šeško. So that was only 2 games ago now. 1 game ago. Jiu-Jitsu saying like the Cobby looked tired last night. Was it a looking tired thing? They were just taking too much time on anything. Which kind of, it all like feeds into the same problem. It all feeds in towards the tempo. Newcastle set one, which wasn't one that we wanted. First 25 minutes were always going to be tough at St James's Park. We spoke about it again in our pre-match build-up show. I was like, well, this is where United are going to have to just don't concede in the first 25, try and quieten them down, and try and then start playing out with the ball. I don't really think we got that much in the first half at all. It was a penalty. I don't know why anybody, and you might say this is red-tinted specs, I don't think it is. Why was anybody talking about that red card for Ramsey like it wasn't a red, like, it was a second yellow for diving, lad. You shouldn't do it if you've got a yellow. It's like Mbumo, if he had gone down after Joe Linton stuck his toe out, and he could have if he wanted to. There was a little sign. There was a smidge. Yeah, there was a smidge. But Mbumo could have got sent off for a second yellow. What, would they be having to go at that and say that's an atrocious decision? United were just too slow on the ball. They felt like they had an extra second every single time they didn't have an extra second. And Newcastle were breathing down their neck, even with 10 men. And I thought this comment was quite important as well. This is from Senny, right? After the game. Because when you're coming out half-time, you can all think, oh, what's the problem? Was it Carrick didn't do anything or say anything? No. He's speaking after the game saying, look, Carrick warned us it wouldn't be easy. We had to attack them and break them quickly. That was the problem in the second half against Newcastle. That was the problem in the first half against West Ham. And it comes down to confidence and technical quality, a bit of both. United didn't play fast enough. That's the problem. Newcastle did. And when you don't have that baseline, and it's Newcastle that always expose this. It's always Newcastle that exposes the most against Manchester United. You're just going to get outplayed. You're going to lose all the 50-50s. You're going to lose all the duels. You're not really going to be able to build any attacks because they're always going to be half a step ahead. Why is someone saying nobody going to acknowledge the fact we got outnumbered in the middle? I mean, what do you think we're talking about the entire time here? That was all. Bruno, he dropped deeper. Bloody hell, he dropped. He was centre back by the end of the game. They simply wanted it. They just wanted it more. They were just willing to give more. They were willing to put more on the table. Now, whatever which way you want to describe it. Look, Casemiro, great goal. Yeah, I know. We're going to struggle to replace his goals. But whether you look at Sandro Tonali, whether you look at Elliot Anderson, who scored the equaliser for Forest last night, City dropping 2 points there. Manchester United need a midfield overhaul. It doesn't matter what I see from Mainu and Casemiro this season. The opinion's fixed because the opinion is correct. It's why we need the midfield overhaul. Last night just showed it. We've got to somehow try and get to the end of the season without that midfield kryptonite hurting us. Now against Villa, it's going to be tough. Onana, Douglas Luiz, you got Morgan Rogers who's going to be dropping in as well. They've got a really good midfield. Bang out of form, sure. But it's going to be tough. We were always going to look. We were never going to go the rest of the season unbeaten. And people keep asking me, like, my opinion on Carrick. Why do you think I'm not giving it yet? Because I haven't seen enough yet. None of us have seen enough yet to make a fair judgment and opinion as to whether this man should get a contract and be our manager for the next, 3 years, 4 years? No idea. Anybody else got anything to say about the game? Fire it into the chat. All right, I'm just having a conversation with you this morning. There is no need to go crazy over the top on this. There really isn't. 8 games for Carrick, 6 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat. The thing that's pissed us off is there's nothing wrong with losing games of football. Hey, you remember the first game of the season against Arsenal? But there's a way. It's not that there's a way to lose games of football. There's not like a right way and a wrong way to lose games of football. But there is certainly a wrong way to lose games of football. And that's what that game felt like. How is it that United can go down, can play against 10 men, and you wouldn't bloody know? Why is it that this Manchester United team is physically incapable of taking that step up in those certain games? And we have done it under Carrick. Are we just seeing a physical drop-off from where we were at the start under Carrick for the City game, the Arsenal game, for example? Don't know. What are we saying down here? Jay's saying, where's the intensity gone that we had under Ruben? We're having 30 shots a game. Dude, what do you mean the intensity under Ruben? Talk about the intensity that we saw against City. Talk about the intensity we saw against Arsenal. Talk about the intensity we saw home against Spurs. But I suppose that was 10 men, man. We have played against 10 men quite a few times this season, haven't we? Spurs, Newcastle, Everton, Crystal Palace. Teams getting red cards against us a lot. Those results, we beat Spurs, we beat Crystal Palace, we lost against Everton, and we lost against Newcastle. So 4 games there. There might be another one, but it's 4 I can remember. 2 wins and 2 defeats against 10 men. On paper, that should be 4 wins against 10 men. It's never a given, but it should be a massive advantage that you're taking. And United just are not physically capable of taking advantage of it. That's the thing that annoys me the most. That's my main frustration from last night. I think Carrick, probably for the first time, I think Carrick got his subs quite badly wrong. I felt that Ahmad and or Shaw, no, I thought Ahmad and or Delo should have came on at half time for Shaw and Mbeumo because they were in yellows in the way that game was playing out. It kind of felt like United were going to get sent off. Chelsea, there's another one there. 5 bloody reds. Man, that's got to be a record in the league this year. So that's 5 games we've played against 10 men, or where the opposition's ended the game with 10 men. 1-3 and we've drawn 2. Duncan is saying not on him, but is Šeško starting not the answer right now? Dude, does anybody want to have a guess how many passes Šeško received in the box last night? I'll leave that open. I'll see what you're saying down there. MB is saying Newcastle got one of the strongest midfields in the league. Carrick got it wrong. United have improved, but the issue is the same. Bruno's not crap. He's the same player. But people say, mate, Bruno last night. Oh, that Euro one. To be fair, it was a pretty decent save, and it wasn't actually a bad header from Euro. Could it have been more in the corner? Yeah, it could have been more in the corner. But it was unlucky. Carl and J Moon, you're saying 1. So's Rob, you're saying 1. Nah, you're all wrong. None. Let me pull up this. Šeško received 0 passes in the box yesterday. Not one. I think we can safely say that Šeško wasn't the problem last night. Getting the ball to Šeško was said problem. I think we were trying it with the crosses, I suppose, but none of them were actually going to him. None. You got your informed striker and you don't get one pass into him in the box. It's almost like that's a problem. Yeah, people can come at me trying to suggest that like Šeško shouldn't be starting this and that. Mate, come on. Like Bruno last night was, well, trying his best, I suppose. There was one cross to Cunha at the back stick that was very good. There was one cross to Euro, that chance that he had. There was another cross, of course, to... One sec. I'm yawning because I'm tired of arguing. I really am tired of arguing. Well, it's not arguing. I suppose people are entitled... Everyone's entitled to vent your frustration in every way you want to vent your frustration. I'm just telling you, it's not a healthy way to exist as a football fan, man. If you live in the land of extremes and United go and beat Villa next week and you're there, you're bragging, you're shouting, you're on the WhatsApp, you're ringing your friends, you're taking a piss out of them, you're having a great time, oh my God, yeah. Then when United lose, it's going to come back and spank you in the face and uppercut you in the jaw. And you are going to swing like a pendulum from week to week. And it's going to be emotionally exhausting. I will repeat. Manchester United are 3rd in the Premier League table with 9 games to go. We are on course for our objective this season. In the shortest season that we're going to have in 100 years, 40 games. It's bad. Well, you're going to have to wait. Because the fucking front doorbell's ringing. Well, at least you got elevator music today. That'll cheer you up, won't it? Mr. Mooney saying City also lost points. Look at the top 6. 2 teams inside the top 6 won in this game week. 2 teams. In fact, 3 teams out of the top 9. What about 10th? 3 teams out of the top 10 this week, this game week, won football. Bloody hell. I think this will go down as the topsy-turvy season. I don't know what way to call it. But every single week, there is a big old surprise. That's mad. 3 out of the top 10 teams. They won. Duncan, you're saying Cunha, Šeško, and Mbumo doesn't work as a combo. They're too selfish. Dude, are you really going to come at me after that? The same Cunha, Šeško and Mbumo that have driven United towards having 51 goals in the Premier League this season, and the 3 summer signings that have very much worked out and worked together. You're not going to get a nibble on that. Last night was not a game where it worked out. Last night was a game where our midfield weaknesses and vulnerabilities were exposed. They were taken advantage of. United didn't have the physical capability to take that step up when we needed to, and not even against 10 men. That's not something new that we've learned, but it's just frustrating it came out again, and we can't get past it. Was that a consequence of us playing 2 times in 4 days? It might have contributed to it, but I wouldn't say that physically we've been on point in these last 4 games now. So I wouldn't say it's just to do with the fact that we aren't playing 2 games in 4 days. Someone down there saying we need to win 7 out of 9 games to guarantee Champions League. Yeah, you could say that about Chelsea. You could say that about everybody. There's going to be more wobbles this season. There's going to be wobbles from everyone. Frustrating as that game was. Right. I'm going to wrap this one up, I think, today. I'm not here suggesting, and I never would suggest how you should be as a United fan. But I don't know why there has to be extremes in reactions. Was last night disappointing? Yep. Was it frustrating? Yep. Was it also Carrick's first defeat in 8 games? Yep. Has he won 6 and drawn 1 before? Yep. Are we in the Champions League? Yep. Is it still in our hands? Yep. Are we playing Villa next? Yep. Now, if we lose against Villa, well, fingers crossed we don't have to have that conversation because the buffer is gone, but the buffer that we created allows this to not be a crisis. It's just a frustration. Unfortunately, we've got 11 days to stew on it. All right. Right. Thank you all for tuning in. I wouldn't say you enjoyed today's show, but sometimes speaking through it makes it a little bit, I don't know, easier? Don't quite know. Take it easy, everyone.